Hello. Sentry Management has put together a list of 9 key issues that association boards are considering as they operate their communities in the era of the coronavirus. We hope this list and the issues raised will help community association boards deal more effectively during the next few critical months. Our goal with this video is to provide practical information that you can utilize now.
Please use this information as a discussion guide. We present it for educational purposes only, and it is not legal advice. As your board digs deeper into each of the 9 points, consult with legal counsel and insurance and risk management experts before formulating any final plans. It is important you know what steps are allowed by your association's documents and state law.
Point number 1. Implementing an emergency coronavirus plan is important because the plan can serve as the big picture of all changes implemented by the board to adapt to resident safety and social distancing requirements. Typical components of a plan include communicating with residents, managing common areas and amenities, anti-discrimination compliance, and conducting association business remotely if your governing documents allow it. If your community association employs staff, review how and whether it will compensate employees in accordance with wage and hour laws if there's an interruption to normal business operations.
Number 2. Communicating with residents becomes significantly more important, requiring more frequent sharing of information and using all channels to reach the most residents possible. Consider establishing a central method and/or location for information. Channels can include websites, Facebook, social media, reverse 911, voice and text messaging, and bulletin boards. To feature the most up-to-date information, consider date and time-stamping communication. Remember, it is important to routinely communicate, even during times there is no new information.
Number 3. Disclosing residents with the virus or who have come into contact with it raises personal privacy issues that need to be weighed against the larger community's need to know. Be aware that disclosure in general can trigger resident-to-resident conflict, frustration, and fear. Keep in mind that many of the people contracting the virus is through no fault of their own. They are folks like first responders, grocery employees, and healthcare workers. All disclosures should be limited to association members, residents, and vendors. Avoid, if possible, channels that broadcast the information outside of the community. If a person with coronavirus agrees to full disclosure by the board, getting authorization in writing might be warranted. If the infected person does not want anyone to know, the board may still have a duty to notify the membership without disclosing the person's name. And self-quarantining as a precaution probably does not create an obligation to notify the membership.
Number 4. Limiting guests is considered by some associations as an effective way to significantly reduce the risk of spreading the coronavirus. Avoid adopting a rule you can't enforce. Buildings with lobbies and communities with gates make visitation enforcement easier. Consider special visitors like caregivers, nurses, therapists, mental health counselors, and clergy. For those infected or self-quarantined, there should be an arrangement for mail pickup, taking out garbage, use of elevators, and food delivery. If a building or community has staff working on site, residents should be encouraged to call the association office instead of visiting.
Number 5. Controlling or closing confined area amenities is often considered after the board discusses what are essential versus non-essential facilities. Consider closing or controlling non-essential facilities such as the gym, jacuzzi, clubhouse, business center, and community room. Display signs in high visibility places alerting residents what amenities are closed. For essential facilities like laundry rooms, consider appointments for use and establishing a cleaning schedule. For elevators, consider limiting use to a certain number of people at a time. And clearly communicate the reasons for actions that impact shared facilities.
Number 6. Disinfecting common areas may be called for, depending on the type of amenities in your community and how they are utilized by residents. Install hand sanitizer dispensers or wipes in common areas for owner and guest use. Perform extensive cleaning, disinfecting, or wiping down of common areas and their surfaces. And postpone or cancel community events typically held in common areas to reduce the chances of coronavirus transmission.
Number 7. Board meetings and the handling of business may need to be temporarily modified and be electronic rather than conducted as in-person meetings. Use telephone or video conference calls for meetings when this type of meeting is allowed by your governing documents. Consider using services like Skype, Zoom, or GoToMeeting, especially services that have a video record for future reference. Consider how to get homeowners to attend electronically and how to manage their participation. Non-essential agenda items might be deferred, and annual meetings could possibly be postponed. Investigate if emergency meeting rules or executive board meetings could be used in certain circumstances. And delegate as many operational tasks as possible to the management company if you are not self-managed.
Number 8. Architectural Review Committee meetings may need to be conducted differently, and some approvals may be delayed. Be aware that some documents require architectural approval within a certain number of days, and if no answer is given, the application is deemed approved. If the committee can meet virtually and all documentation is in order, decisions can be made to approve or disapprove. If the committee cannot meet, it is suggested to do blanket denials. The homeowner will still have the opportunity to resubmit once things get back to normal. Communicate in advance when all architectural reviews are being temporarily suspended to help alleviate frustration by homeowners.
Number 9. Construction projects on association-owned property and inside homeowner units should be reconsidered based on close proximity of contractors to residents. Delay projects, if possible, that require vendors to enter homeowner units or will cause residents to be in close proximity to workers. Determine if owners can accomplish renovation projects that would normally require contractors to enter the property. Direct contractors allowed to proceed with work to provide verification of precautions they are requiring their employees to take, like wearing protective gear. Postponement of work might be a consideration in order to preserve funds in anticipation of late payments by owners. Begin talks with contractors regarding postponement of non-essential work. And document the outcome of contractor discussions in writing, especially if a verbal agreement was made that is different than what is in the vendor's contract.
Thank you for your professionalism and the time you have spent and will spend addressing these important issues. We want you to know that you are not in this alone.
And please reach out to your Sentry community manager for any help you need in dealing with this difficult situation. We're here for you and your community.